Justin Baldoni's character and Blake Lively's character are slow dancing, and this was part of the core process of the two characters in the movie.
I'm both a fan of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, okay, from the beginning of Korea.
They said there was a scene they filmed in which she felt sexually harassed.
Say what happened to the law, right? When the original complaint came out, we saw Blake's side of this.
Right.
Which painted one picture.
With recent HR complaints exposing what many are describing as Blake Lively's team's desperate tactics, the legal dispute between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has taken yet another combustible turn. Blake's plan appears to be backfiring as the focus has switched from the initial accusations to a battle of credibility as specifics of the internal complaints and leaked papers come to light.
We're a little bit skeptical. Then, when Blake dropped her suit, she had so many specific, detailed complaints of sexual harassment that occurred on set. So we obviously believe her, and we read it.
Coupled with all the
Yes.
super cringy, like self-grandizing content.
Yeah.
I think that helped a lot.
It did. It did. And
which is
now,
ironically what happened to Blake the first one. All these interviews of her being came out and you're like, oh, I believe it.
Exactly.
So we have to be careful.
We do.
Personally, I've been right. I think I will continue to be right. I'm going to watch this with an open mind.
Blake's modified complaints and abrupt HR filings seem to be more questions than answers, but Baldoni is standing firm with receipts and legal support. Is this an intentional attempt to save a failing case, or is it a sincere attempt to pursue justice? The consensus among fans, legal professionals, and business insiders is not favorable for Blake's cause.
If Blake Lively brings this lawsuit because she was unlawfully retaliated against for coming forward and reporting sexual harassment occurred against her and others is an important thing there. We know there were those HR complaints just got leaked, but they seem very fake. On the set of It Ends With Us, Defendant Waiter Studios is the owner of the film. Justin Baldoni is the co-chairman. We all know this stuff, so I'm going to go over this a little bit. For years prior to the release of the film, Mr. Baldoni portrayed himself as a leader of the male feminist movement, writing books, doing podcasts, and holding TED Talks on the topic.
When Blake's legal team abruptly changed the original case, it made headlines. Although the decision was justified as a necessary change, many believe it was a response to Baldoni releasing video that disproves her statements. According to reports, the stolen videos provide behind-the-scenes footage that casts doubt on Blake's intentions and refutes her claims of wrongdoing. According to legal experts, changing a complaint in the middle of the case frequently indicates that the original allegations were not up to par, and that Blake's team may be frantically trying to come up with a fresh strategy.
Justin Baldoni's character and Blake Lively's character are slow dancing, and this was part of the courting process, the two characters in the movie. And she, in her original complaint, said that he was often breaking character, and it was him who was there in that scene as Justin, not as his character Ryle, and that he was often doing things that were not part of the story or part of the script, making her uncomfortable by getting a little too intimate as himself. So now let's look at the leaked footage to see what the behaviors actually say. Oh, and for regular viewers of the channel, stick around till the end of the video because I have a really important announcement. But for right now, let's take it to top.
Like a couple cues of they score. Just so everyone else on us is having a moment.
But is it as rambunctious as it was earlier on?
No, it's never gonna be. We're in slow.
This is her talking as Blake, right? This is Blake giving Justin suggestions. She can't reasonably expect to respond as Ryle, but then to be fair to her and see her angle, her insisting that they talk more could be her way of saying, I'm not as comfortable with intimacy in this moment. I'd rather this scene be, or at least I thought this scene was gonna be more about talking and dance. So we could see that, especially when at some point spins and starts engaging with one of the extra. And this is something that I always look for when I'm trying to gauge stress or nervous. And we see this in poker games a lot, or in all kinds of games of deception.
Blake's defense strategy has included 3 HR complaints, but rather than bolstering her case, they have been viewed with suspicion. The timing is being criticized by both fans and critics who point out that these allegations only surfaced after Baldoni's legal team made damaging data public. Some view the complaints as a desperate diversion from the growing evidence that contradicts Blake's assertions, while her team maintains that they show a pattern of inappropriate behavior.
I'm both a fan of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, okay, from the beginning of their career. And I found the entire lawsuit very, very interesting. And I'm learning, I'm about PR, I'm learning about filmmaking, I'm learning about so many different things. And it's a very interesting type of drama and pop culture that is helping us to expose a lot of things, right? Now, we are going to be breaking down the HR complaints, and there's 3 of them. Now, because, like I said, they hadn't redacted, complainant really traumatized in her verbal account incident, Director Justin Baldoni approached complainant and asked her to speak privately. He asked complainant if she has ever had an orgasm on camera. He asked why this is necessary. This is Isabella Ferreira, by the way. So this is Isabella Ferreira. That's what I've concluded anyway. She asked why this is necessary to know since climax is not scripted in the scene. Baldoni then leaned close to complainant's face and whispered, "I think we should go ahead and add it in. Show me what you got." End quote. Complainant did not feel she had the authority to decline. Complainant told Baldoni she did not want to do the scene.
Not only did Baldoni's legal team refute the HR complaints, but they also provided thorough receipts to support their position. Many of Blake's assertions appear to be either wildly inflated or blatantly contradictory, according to emails, production notes, and even video evidence. Blake apparently authorized several of the scenes and choices that she later claimed as problematic in her complaint, according to one leaked document. This inconsistency raises severe concerns about Blake's reliability.
Said there was a scene they filmed in which she felt sexually harassed. He has that scene, and he included it. We can watch that scene.
Yep. In fact, in Blake's suit, she stated it was a muted scene, so we didn't have audio of what was taking place. And she says that he said something very specific,
Do
which
we have
he does.
the-
Yes.
Oh,
he
so
was
we have
laughed
the
up.
Wow, dude, you never get this. This is crazy. You get all the details. You go, oh, I'm just during this unaired scene. Here it is, audio. Wow.
Blake's HR complaints, according to people close to the production, are more about damage control than they are about identifying workplace problems. Blake's staff is allegedly doing all in their power to change the narrative as a result of Baldoni's increasing popularity in the public and business circles. However, the consensus appears to be obvious as more insiders come out. It's possible that these strategies are hurting Blake's case more than helping it.
The original complaint came out. We saw Blake's side of this.
Right.
Which painted one picture.
Right.
And then we started to see Justin's side over time. When he finally filed his suits, the first one was the New York Times, and then secondly filed against Blake and Ryan.
But they were $250 million or something.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? And there's multiple pieces of action, and we'll see who wins on what.
So he's suing the New York Times.
Correct.
For false information, or right?
Yeah.
What is he suing them for?
So defamation, false, which is very similar. I also think that there's a promissory fraud in there as well, because if you look at the facts, I don't know if I'm putting that to be.
No. Honestly, I love stuff. It's oddly mirroring the Drake lawsuit. What's
He's suing him
too.
And then they're also suing him or Blake is suing him for sexual harassment and retaliation.
I saw that.
So just to recap, because we jumped right into this. From my interpretation, I really am just picking scraps from tabloids and news
like
articles
I do
here
in
and
the
there.
trash.
I just think it's like I do in the neighborhood.
I'm nosing through the trash.
Okay, so if I'm wrong, I might be wrong. They made this movie together. Okay.
Yes.
Wait,
This
allegedly.
is what?
They made the movie.
You get carried away with alleged. They allegedly this movie.
And remember, this is financial advice. This is just my opinion.
They did everything.
But if you do financial advice, buy gold with Round Capital. No, I'm kidding. That's really
Plaintiff Blake Lively brings action for damages to Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, etc. We already know that. Introduction. It starts with a quote from Justin Baldoni's podcast. Ooh.
So, give me the context. Is this like thing that replaces the original document?
It's like it adds more to it.
So we're replacing the original document. We don't know what is from the original and what's new. We just have to read it to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, I read the first one a long time ago, but I don't want to make people too long. So let's read a little bit. Let's see. So this is a quote from Justin Baldoni's podcast. Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life, to hear their ideas and their solutions? Oh, I can already tell this is such a bitchy thing to. So far in this document, just in the opener, the attention-heavy part of the document, I feel like Blake's lawyer, did his job worth the amount that's paid. But I don't believe it because of all the stuff come out and because of all the contradiction Blake's initial complaint for Justin's. Anyways. Number 5, at his own moment of truth, when forced to confront women he had made uncomfortable on his own net, he trivialized their concerns and failed to take accountability for the effects of his behavior, whether intended or not. And when faced with the predictable consequences of having created